All right, welcome Hard Knocks, KK the Destroyer, coming to you live from the sunny and warm Cabo San Lucas because the Washington Nobodies are not in the playoffs. Not like you guys over there in your mini camp sweating and grunting and trying to get your game plans all set up. No, I'm drinking Mai Tais on the beach. It's great. So, with me, I have Slick Wills.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
And Crazy Greggy, 2 playoff teams. So we figured we'd get this one going. First season into the new game, and we got lots of games, I think, on the schedule tonight. Greg, you got a game shortly after the podcast, do you not?
Yes, I do.
Right on. And then what about you, Slick? When's your game?
I got the number 1 seed, so whenever it's welcome.
So
that's right. Yeah, I just got to throw that out there. So we did have one game already go down. I didn't get to see it, but it was the Bengals versus the Jags, and it looks like the Bengals took that one down.
You didn't miss much.
I didn't miss much, huh? Was it a beatdown?
For the most part.
I didn't watch it, but I figured that German would win. That was my. We'll wait.
Yeah, sorry, John, but I feel like the consensus probably was that Jern was going to win this game. We'll get into predictions for the remaining games here shortly, but yeah, I mean, I'm sad I didn't get to see it, but I would have imagined Jern was going to win that game. He's been playing really good down the stretch.
Yeah, well, after you let him get
a gazillion throw power attributes.
Oh man, that's so right.
4 or 5 this season.
Yeah, which I mean, I guess then that's a pretty good segue into the Joe Burrow rule that we're gonna have to basically initiate now that Jern won so much in the fantasy and the pick'ems. He was able to get so many upgrades on Joe Burrow that it's like at a certain point we have to kind of put some kind of threshold limit here.
Per season.
Per season. And, I mean, he might have just gotten lucky a lot, and I think he did a pretty good job on, picking who to win and then also the fantasy, so he did really well. And I think, over the long term, chances are that stats are going to balance out. He might go on a stretch of not winning, and so it doesn't seem like it might need to be addressed. But I think the commissioners talked about it, and as a consensus, we decided that what we would like to do is create a cap on on any player's stats that are boosted due to any of those rewards of 3 per season. So Joe Burrow can get 3 throw power this season, but then after that, he can't upgrade that throw power throughout the rest of the season. He could still do like throw accuracies and stuff though, right? Is that what we discussed?
Yeah, throw accuracies, yeah.
Yeah, as long as you're not upgrading a particular stat beyond 3.
Particular stat, yes.
Yeah, per season. And we decided at the end of the season we'd make the rule because obviously everybody should have the fair shot to benefit without the rule for a whole season. And then going forward, we're going to just say it's per season, plus 3 per stat, and that's how we'll go.
We'll have a page made for it.
Yeah, we'll make a post.
Track of what's been added.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, he killed it this year in the fantasy, and then with the pick'ems. I mean, I think Joe Burrow started at like 87 throw power.
Not even.
He's 92 now.
Was it 86?
It was like 80. It might have been like 86.
Okay, maybe it was 86, and now he's at like 92, 93.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maxed out 93, right? That's
and then this begs the other question: 92. Is should we actually lower the cap because it's at 92? At least
so
that's
90 is a threshold for a ton of stats.
Right, and so maybe we should look at just having it be 90.
Oh, you mean the upgrades?
So Nick just commented on actual YouTube. Nick was on YouTube right now, and he said you shouldn't be able to go over 90. And
right.
I just noticed that right now. And I mean, I agree with him because, like I said, 90 is the threshold for a ton of stats. Anything higher than that is just
Jern says 90's dumb as fuck. But but it does make me wonder: should we? I mean, I think it's a valid question to ask.
It's worth talking about, definitely. Since we already made this change, it's worth looking into.
And Jern rightly pointed out that I had written 93 as the cap, but it's weird because I know all of us commissioners were operating under the assumption it was 92. But still, no matter what, I feel like 90 probably should be the cap.
What do you Jern's like, you better not. You don't touch my boy's throw power.
Oh, we're not going to reduce it.
I'm already doing it now. We aren't going to lower it. We're just putting it in place for the future.
Right. And Johnny's like, can we just talk about the playoffs already? So anyway, that's the Joe Burrow rule. Figured we'd name it after Jern since, he was the one who broke it. So just got to let it be what it is. So anyway,
it's at 83 now.
Oops, it's at 83 now. All right, so let's jump into Greg's power rankings. You're going to do a top 14 for us, right?
Top 14, just based on the playoff teams. It's going to be really quick because we're in the playoffs, and I know everyone wants to get to the playoff predictions and whatnot. So, oh man, let me get the schedule up here.
I can pull up the schedule, and you can let me know what you need.
I've got, number 14, which is the worst team on the list, but it's the worst of the best teams, right?
Right.
I've got Danny, who's the Packers. Nobody really, I don't think anybody expected him to get to the playoffs, and the fact that he did is incredible. He won his division. So he has
soft-ass division with a 10-win team.
It was a pretty soft division. He ends up going, he's got a home game against the Buccaneers, who arguably could have been the 1 seed. I don't know how they separated him and Manny, but they figured it out.
Right.
13, I've got the Colts, who's A-Bomb. He's got a home game against the Bills. At 12, I've got Nick with the Browns. And Nick would be a lot higher if he had a better team, and a better quarterback.
Hold on. Well, that's true. He's got the rookie quarterback that he traded for or whatever.
He's got some
But
trash.
his team is still pretty nice for Madden. I mean, come on.
He's got one good wide receiver, right? He's got OBJ. Jarvis Landry is not a good wide receiver for Madden. In reality, he's great. But
right, because he's just not fast
Madden,
enough.
On Madden, he's like 87 speed. He's got good catching stats, but he's not going to do anything for you in Madden.
Yeah.
Number 11, I've got the Jaguars, who just recently lost to Jern. Number 10, I've got TBK. I would have TBK higher.
TBK at 10.
At 10.
Okay.
I would have TBK higher, but, I won't get into it. At 9, I have the Bucs.
You would have him higher, except for he lost to that Washington team, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
He loses at the wrong time. It's not who he loses to, but I feel like he just loses at the wrong time. Like, he lost to end the year against me, so that includes myself, Johnny, and a bunch of other people ahead of him now. At 9, I've got the Bucs, Darius, who I'm sure some people would still have him higher than 9. At 8, I've got myself, Cowboys. At 7, I've got Jabbar. At 6, I've got the Bills, who was kind of a wild card. I feel like he's better than you thought. We were talking about this a little bit before we started the stream.
Yeah.
I didn't know how good he was this year, and he was.
Yeah, Willie was he won his division each year in Madden 20, but he at one point was struggling to win it, and then barely won it. I think. And just didn't really do that well. But I think this year he's done very well for himself. What's his team again?
The Bills.
The Bills. And
so yeah, I'm going out on a limb with him. I got him at 6.
He lost 4 games this year, so he's doing well.
Well, most of the people in this list everybody's got 3 or 4 losses, if I remember right, besides Danny. So it's so hard to try and get this figured out.
That is pretty true, because I was looking at the schedule of all the wild card games, and most of them are 12-4s, and then there's like an 11-5, and then like you said, a 10-6.
And
so like a lot of
13-3s, I think.
Yeah, a lot of really good records this year, which is nice to see that extra playoff spot.
Absolutely super balanced this year. It's fabulous. So after the Bills, I've got JP at 5, who he will say that he's not worthy of it. He's like, why do you have me so high? Blah blah blah. He's good. That's what he is. He's
You know
he's
he
a
hates that
safe
attention.
he's
He
a safe
hates when we
bet.
talk.
Yeah,
He
he's
is
like,
a
I'm
super
top 5,
conservative player.
LOL.
He's a
So
safe
dumb.
bet. At 4, I've got Broncos. He's Johnny Sins. I've got him kind of just because he was really good last year,
Right.
and he's good this year as well.
He's playing really well this year.
At 3, I've got Jern. Jern's made the big jump up because I think
Oh,
all
you
year
already know
long-
he's upset. You know he's gonna be mad, right? You know, like you know. I'm not even looking at chat. I already know what he's writing. Like,
all year long, I had Jern either unranked or like top 7. Never cracked like the top 6. And now he's finally. I mean, he beat me. He's won like most of his. I mean, I don't know how many straight he's rambled off, but he's won quite a few in a row, and he just won the playoff game too. So I mean, he'd be the best pick, or he's the best ranking for anyone in the wild card matchups. And then number 2 and number 1 are your 2 bye weeks. I've got Slick at 2, and I got Manny at 1.
Man,
Doing
Slick, how
nothing
you
this
feel
week.
about that? Jeez.
I'm too high, bro.
I'm too high, bro.
If you get a bye week, you can't be too high. I mean, it's where you are. You're either the number 1 or number 2 team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think most of that sounds pretty right on. I mean, without seeing it, do you have it able to post in chat so we can kind of look at it?
Yeah, I can take a screenshot of it.
Yeah, screenshot it and send it our way. I think of all those teams that are on there, I think Jern did the best. Well, I was just going to say the best turnaround because I was looking at his record, and he was 2-2 at one point in the season, and then he
So he
rattles
won.
off 2 more, and he goes 6-2. Wait, no, I mean 4-2, and then takes another loss, and then you're like, is Jern going to be okay this year? And then he wins one, and then loses one, and then just goes on a tear the rest of the way. So he really righted the ship on the end of this.
I'm not even going to put it on. It's all that throw power. He didn't have the throw power, bro. He couldn't make the throws. Now he's got the throw power. Now he can make the throws.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean, this is what we were talking about a little bit, prior to the podcast was I feel like there are times where Haskins, I mean, I'm throwing to the open guy, and then the safety will break and overpower my wide receiver, and I'm like, that's a wide open throw, whether it's a corner route or a post route to the center, and I'm like, and then it either winds up to be an incompletion or a pick. But then you were saying you haven't had that same struggle with Dak, and he's at 89.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't had that issue.
So,
Although I probably don't throw that many. I mean, I probably don't throw that many deep post routes trying to get over the top of the coverage.
and maybe that's
More
the
of it.
difference because, like, based on what you were saying about Jern and Joe Burrow, is like he was taking those losses early because he was throwing, or you assume he was throwing and not able to make the throws, and then he gets the throw power, and then now can make the throws, and he rattles off like 6 or 7 straight. So I am
So here's
curious.
another thing. Like
Uh-huh.
you have McLaren, and he has John Ross. Both are like 96 plus speed, or
Right.
John Ross might be 97. So like those post routes, they should be, or streaks, they should be able to create separation faster.
Yeah.
All I've got is I've got a bunch of 91 speed wide receivers. I've got Amari Cooper, Gallup, CeeDee Lamb. They're all like 91 speed and between like 90 and 92 acceleration. It's really hard for me to get over the top of somebody, especially a team that's got corners.
Well, it's
with
not even
90
about being
speed all
over the
way
top.
around.
Most of the routes that I'm talking about are like the corner route, a post route or a corner route where you have the window, or even the long crossers. Like, there are times where, like, what is it, PA out of trips tight end, you have that long crosser, and the safety's on top of your guy above him, and you throw it, and it's a bullet pass with pass lead, and the safety crashes down and makes a pick, or just breaks it up, and it's like, that has to be throw power, right? That was a question, guys.
Wait, react to it again?
I think it's partially throw power, partially.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if somebody has good enough play recognition / awareness, I think they can make that play. No
Yeah.
matter how good your throw power is. Awareness is huge. It always has been huge. I mean, that's why it affects the overall of the players so much.
Perhaps. So I was asking Slick the question, like PA crossers out of trips tight end, you have the long bender route, and you can throw it even though the safety's over the top of the guy because it's technically running underneath him across. And I'll throw it, and then that safety that's playing that deep half or that deep third will crash down and make the play. And I'm like, that should be open. And it's almost like the quarterback is sailing it more than throwing it on a bullet like I'm throwing it. So I'm curious if that's throw power or not.
I mean, it can be a combination of things. It'll depend on your throw power, because throw power is not only how far you can throw it, but how fast,
how quickly it gets there. Right? That's exactly my thought. Yeah.
And also, I mean, if it's a deep, it depends how deep the throw is. If you're just doing a 10-yard one, it will depend on your mid accuracy or your deep accuracy. But awareness also.
That too. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's why I tell people it's not all about like overall. You gotta look at the individual stats, because you can have low overall guys, but if they have the individual stats they use specifically, especially for quarterbacks or a person you're using with or stuff like that, those will come into effect.
And so the reason we even brought up this point was like Jern was rattling off way more wins in the second half of the season when he was getting that upgrade. So do you think he just kind of figured out what was going to work for him more, or like Greg was just saying, they just got that throw power and that's the difference? What do you think?
I mean,
he got
throwing with 86 throw power is going to be tough, but it's not like Joe Burrow had bad accuracy. Like for a rookie, when you start, it was decent, like you can get by.
Yeah.
But he developed. I'm assuming he developed him because he must have spotlighted him. He must have done all the QB drills, and then he passed a lot.
Yeah, this boy right now, he's got. I understand his morale is max right now, so it's like +2.
Yeah.
Stats. All of his accuracies, short, medium, deep, they're all 90+.
Yeah, they're all up. I mean,
his throw on the run is almost 90. His throw under pressure is 90. So he's hitting all of these thresholds, and his throw power is now at 93. So this quarterback is absolutely stacked. His accuracies are at the threshold to where he's going to be on point most of the time, no matter what throw he makes.
Yeah. Anyway, we're spending way too much time on Jern and Joe Burrow's throw power. So, anyhow, let's
kill us next year.
Let's get to the predictions for this playoff schedule. So, I think I'll throw this to Slick first. We got the Bills and Colts game. We got Coach Willie Nelson and A-Bomb coming up. So who do you think is going to come out of this one?
It's tough.
I'm going to mark these down just for fun.
It is tough. I haven't. I want to see how Willie adjusts after our last game, because he was pretty mad. He was upset. But as long as he has his composure, I think he can win it. It'll be interesting to see if his run gets shut down, because he's mainly a runner.
Is he? Okay, that's good to know.
If he can adjust. And both of these guys actually like to run, because Bills have Jonathan Taylor. He used to have Neon Hines, who he traded to Willie. So I think it's gonna be a running game.
Yeah.
Type of game. But I'll go with Willie.
Gotcha. And see, that's the thing, is I haven't seen Willie play this year or A-Bomb really play this year, so I have no clue what's really going to happen in this game. I feel like I know A-Bomb as a player because I've been in leagues with him before, that he's just defensively sound and, offensively pretty sound as well. Like, he knows how to move the ball. So I would go ahead and give the nod to A-Bomb that he's going to win this one, just based on what I know of him as a player. And Willie, I felt like, struggled to win his division every year in the reboot when he started. So, but I think this one's probably pretty close to a toss-up. And, if you're saying that he's pretty run-heavy, and they both might be, I mean, it could be, I think it could be anybody's game, and it's just going to be who makes the more mistakes early or whatever to that effect. But
I mean, they both have good QB, a good QB and a good running back, Madden-wise anyway. A-Bomb has Baker Mayfield and Jonathan Taylor. Bills has Josh Allen and Deion Hines. So I mean, it's gonna be who can pass better, honestly, because they both can run.
Right. What about you, Greg? Who do you got?
I'm gonna keep it short and easy. I'm gonna take the Bills. Willie will win.
Since Slick knows a little bit about Willie, what do you think his strengths are? I mean, obviously you said he's a runner.
He's a good runner. That front seven is really nice, especially with Tremaine Edmonds in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
He can play defense. In a game that it's hard to play defense a bit, but primarily he knows how to run. I think that's his greatest strength.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll take it to the Browns and Broncos. So we got Nick coming back as the Browns really did well, got into the playoffs, even starting in an 0-2 hole. Is that right?
Yeah.
I believe so.
That's what I thought. Yeah. And then we got Johnny Sins, who's been solid last year and then solid this year. I don't know, what did he finish with record-wise?
He came 12-4, didn't he? Like everybody else.
He might be 12-4. No, 13-3.
13-3. So Johnny picked up right where he left off. If I were to decide here, I think I would say that I think Johnny takes it. I feel like Nick is still getting his sea legs coming back after taking a break. And Johnny's just been playing so well from last year, and then it's obviously carrying over into this year. So I think he's just on a better plane than Nick is at this moment. So I'm going to go ahead and give Johnny Sins the nod. I mean, we were division rivals, so I got to give him that. What about you, Greg?
I have a lot of respect for Nick, as you know. We've been in the league together for a long
Oh, absolutely.
time. I think I'm gonna take Browns with an upset with the Broncos. I think he finds a way to get it done, even with his terrible quarterback.
Nice. Giving Nick the nod. What about you, Slick? What do you got?
Johnny's is a good player. That front seven is really nice. He has two good running backs, Noah Fant, Jerry Jeudy,
And and Drew Lock been lighting up fantasy like all year long too.
all year. I mean, and he's got 3 good pass rushers. Because somebody decided to give him an extra pass rusher because he didn't do anything with a good front seven last Madden. So
Right.
I'm still going with Nick.
Ooh, really?
Upset. Yeah, I'm still going with Nick.
Wow.
I've been playing the league. I mean, I know what type of player he is. He was in a tight game with Jern, who's top 3 in the league.
Sure.
I have him number 2. I have me at number 3. But I mean, their games were tight, even with a bad roster. And I know how Nick plays, so that's one of the main reasons. Also, I know how good of a user he is, and he can overcome having some holes in his team.
Yeah, and he always adjusted well, and so I could definitely see a scenario where he recognizes what Johnny wants to do, and finds a way to slow that down and force him out of what is comfortable for Johnny. So I could see it, but I think, like I said, I think Johnny still takes it. So I expect Nick to do big things next season. Going into the Bucks-Packs matchup, this is an exciting matchup for me. I feel like, two guys who haven't really been in this situation before, finding a ton of success. We got Darius and Danny, so love seeing them in the playoffs. So, Greg, who do you think walks away with the W here?
It's a tough one because, like I said, neither of them have actually been in this situation. I'm gonna go Darius, Buccaneers.
Yeah, he's been lighting it up too. So I think his offense is going to be kind
the
of
best offense in the league.
tough to stop. And then, what about you, Slick? What do you see happening here?
I got to look at his schedule first because I want to go with Darius because he started the season really hot, and then somewhere in the middle he just kind of slowed down a little bit. Then he picked it right back up.
Danny beat the Saints. That means they're in India.
Right.
We are going to drive that home forever. But I'll still go with Darius. I just think he has too many weapons. But the Bucks do have three good DBs. So I mean, he could give him a run for his money. But I still think Darius pulls it out. Be a tight game though.
Yeah, I think this one could be a toss-up either way. Like, Danny's played some really good games that I've seen, and he's adjusted well. I think they're similar players overall. So, man, this one is probably the hardest game for me to choose. But I'm really happy to see that they meet each other in the playoffs here, because one of them is going to move on, and so that's exciting. But yeah, man, I think Darius is just playing so well and has continued to do so that I think his offense is too powerful for Danny at this point. I think Danny can play a tight game and win, but I just don't think he can keep up with the gun show that's going to be Tampa Bay. Yeah, I mean, I think he's just got so many ways to hurt you, and clearly is capable of doing so that he's just going to outscore him in the long run. So Danny's
going first clean sweep.
I think Darius wins it, but the wild card really is if it's a close game and going into the fourth. Because I know Danny is a good defensive player.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a close game going into the fourth, I think Danny pulls it out. Because you can't leave because Darius might let him hang around. If he hangs around,
give him an opportunity.
Yeah,
anything can happen. So
I definitely agree with what you're saying, Slick, because in a close game, I think I take Danny too. I just feel like it's going to be a two-score game most of the way.
He's just going to hop out in front right away and.
Yeah, I feel like Darius is going to wind up scoring, and Danny might get a field goal or might not score. Then the Bucks score again, and then suddenly Danny's behind the eight ball. That's kind of the way I see it happening. So I give it to the Bucks there. Then we move along to the three-peat, TBK versus Crazy Greggy, the Eagles versus the Cowboys. So, Greg, who is going to win this game?
It would be a shame if I didn't pick myself, right?
It would be, yes.
I wouldn't respect you if you didn't pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's an obligatory. You have to choose you.
I'm 2-0 against him. The first one wasn't close. The second one was close. I have doubts about the third game, but I have to pick myself. It's just.
I'll tell you this: TBK will never say he's losing to anybody. Like he's convinced he's better than everybody in this league.
Is he?
So, I'm pretty sure.
He's so humble. Like, I feel like TBK is one of the most quietly humble people in this league. Like, the dude, it doesn't matter if he loses the game or he wins the game. It's the same message every time. It's GG exclamation point. Like, he can throw six picks, have the worst game ever, and he's like, "Yes, I had the best game. GG, man."
He'll hit you with a sly. He'll hit you with a sly like comment where it's like it's an itty bitty comment, like troll comment, not enough where it's gonna grab anybody's attention.
Right.
But no, TBK, he talks trash. Don't let that fool you.
I'll tell you what, he's got me fooled because I swear
he
to
doesn't
God.
talking to you and Greg, but he definitely Johnny just called you out. He said that's crazy talk. He does.
I don't know where. Maybe it's lost on me, but I'm always gonna pick Greg for the majority of his games outside of a few different players because Greg is defensively super sound, and it's weird. It's like it doesn't seem like he's doing anything that special, but somehow he finds a way to make you funnel all your throws towards him, and then he just picks you off. So I feel like Greg's going to win this game. He's going to cry the entire game. Like he'll be in chat. He'll be like, "I'm losing this game. It's over. I don't stand a chance." And then he'll win the game in the final quarter. So I think that'll happen. But I just played TBK. He played a really good game. It was close early, and then he pulled away from me. I felt like the TBK that I faced at the beginning of the season was much different from the second half. So I think he's definitely figured out a way to, just play overall a more solid game. And so I think he looks pretty good. And like you said, Greg, he played you tight in the second game.
Yeah, my first game against him was a blowout. I was up 31 at
Yeah.
halftime, and now this, like the second game, I think I was behind in the third quarter,
Yeah.
and I
So
had
I
to
think it'll be
fight
a
to win it.
one-score game for sure. What about you, Slick? Who do you got?
I got Greg. It'll be interesting to see if he gets down early, how enraged he'll get. Because
He has been known to chew clock.
but
That was against Manny one
that's
time,
one thing about
and that was a
TBK.
lost game. That was a
If you
dead in the
if you chew
water.
clock against TBK, he will let you know because he's let me know. But I have Greg, but I would not be surprised at least if TBK wins it.
Man, I'm gonna have to shout out TBK here because he just got crushed
So
on the
before we
podcast.
go to this last game, I want to make it known that none of these games, these wildcard games, so we talked about this before we started.
Uh-huh.
None of these games are like head and shoulders above anybody. Like and either of these teams in all of these matchups could win. There's like, like where if it were Manny versus
Right.
somebody else, somebody not that great. Obviously, Manny's your clear-cut winner. But in all of these 6 games, I mean, either one of these teams could win. Just depends on what breaks each team catches.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I definitely agree.
Jabbar was saying there's no easy road.
Yeah, Jabbar was saying that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's been, a really competitive year this year watching these divisions shake out. Like, at no point was there, like, really a clear-cut runaway for the majority of the divisions. I mean...
So, one more thing. I don't know if you guys noticed this. We were talking about it in the chat like 2 days ago before we simmed to the Week 17. Yeah, before we simmed to Week 17. Week 16, there was not a single team that had claimed their division.
Really? In Week 16, is that what you said?
In Week 16, yeah. Everything was decided in Week 17 who won
That's
what
pretty
division,
wild.
which I've never seen happen before. I mentioned it in chat.
Yeah, normally somebody is
like,
running away with a division.
Exactly. Yeah, there were just a ton of divisions with teams, like Manny and the Bucks. They were both 13-3.
Right.
Or they were both 12-3 at the time. Myself and TBK, we were like, we played Week 16, so in Week 16 it wasn't settled, but we were both 11-4 at the time. So, I mean, yeah, the divisions weren't settled at all until Week 17. It was crazy. I'd never seen it before.
You have something to add there, Slick?
No, it's about right.
Oh, okay.
That's crazy. I mean, Week 16 and no divisions were locked.
Yeah, that is crazy. So, last game, Cardinals-Seahawks. Looking at this game, I feel like I'm going to choose Johnny because I think, he plays sound defense and he doesn't take a ton of risks. It's the same thing I always say is he's probably a little too conservative, which I think, once again, this is a game that I think could go either way. Because I feel like Jabbar, on the other hand, is definitely slinging the rock a lot. And so he's going to take more risks, which innately should favor Johnny, because that means there's going to be more opportunities for defensive turnovers. But then at the same time, it also could mean very big plays. And if Johnny is conservative like that, then he when he plays tough opponents, he often plays too conservative and then will lose a closer game than if he probably opened it up. So I do think I'm still going to choose Johnny here, but I could see this one going either way. Slick, what about you?
They were actually talking about this in the chat. They're supposed to be playing maybe tonight. Yeah, soon. Jabbar's supposed to be going out of town, but he's still going to play. He claims that he's going to play to lose, which that's going to give him a way out.
Oh, yeah. Figures.
Yeah, I read that because he doesn't know if he's going to have Wi-Fi wherever he's going.
Jabbar, you better not play to lose.
Dude, you can hotspot on your phone at this point with Madden. Like, it's a real thing. I've done it. It's playable. No excuses.
I still think, regardless if he was going out of town or not, I still pick Johnny. Just
Johnny's
'cause
over here hating this, right? You were
he
talking
he
about that
hates
earlier.
this. He really. I was just gonna
Number
pick Jabbar
5.
just to do reverse psychology because we had a lot of that going on today. But I mean, JP figured it out.
He's too well rounded, right?
I think he is, but I played him a lot. But he
He
hates it
beat me.
essentially.
They split games this year, though, right?
Yes,
I think
they
so.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this will be their third matchup, so I'm sure they love that. So, Greg, who do you got?
Okay, so I think whoever wins this game will win it in a blowout. 2 possessions or more. And I feel that way because either Jabbar's offense is going to work and Johnny's too conservative, so
Right.
Jabbar will just beat him by 14 plus, or Johnny's defense, which is really good, is going to stop Jabbar, and his conservative play call, he'll get a defensive touchdown or 2, and his conservative play calling will result in a few scores, and he'll win by 2 possessions or more. I mean, it's a toss-up to me which one works, but I'm going to go with JP.
Yeah, I think that's
A
kind of the
clean sweep
consensus.
there?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So, but like you said earlier, I mean, all these games could theoretically go either way. So it'll be exciting to see how they shake out. So, I think we'll wrap it up right there. Let's get these games going and get these streams going. See what happens. So,
Right on.
congrats to
Right on.
everybody in the playoffs. Slick, enjoy that day off. And
Yeah.
who do you get?
I think Jern said. I think the winner of Willie and A-Bomb.
Okay, gotcha.
I think that's what he said.
Slick's the 1.
Yeah.
Who would the 2 be? The 2 would have been Broncos.
Yeah. Oh, what?
He only lost 3 games because Jern has 4 losses.
Yeah.
So 2 would have been Broncos, 3 would be Jern, 4 would be Colts. That means 5 is Bills, 6 is Jaguars, 7 is Browns. So he plays the Browns if Nick wins. And if the Colts or Bills win, he plays either one of those 2 teams because he won't play Cincinnati.
Gotcha. All right. Well, looks like you got your work cut out for you. So,
Yeah.
all right, boys. Well, thanks for joining in. Let's get these games done.
My pleasure.
All right.
All
Well,
right, guys.
we'll catch you
Take
later.
it easy.